Right. Hello, everyone. Attempt number two of this podcast thing that I'm doing. Just internet connections yet again failed me, and I'm not really happy at the moment, to be honest, because I really wanted this to work. But hopefully, second time lucky. Um, so as I was saying, so for those of you who are tuning in and this is sort of your first encounter with me. My name is Martin. I run a site called In Search of Media, which is primarily for music, film, and sort of the creative arts, but it's mainly music focused. So this is really the purpose of this podcast. I will be talking about artists, um, albums that I've been listening to for the past week because I plan on making this a weekly thing. So yeah, it's been something I've been wanting to do for a while now. I mean, one of the reasons being I kind of feel like I need to give an alternative platform to just, music mixes and really give it a good insight into, people's creative processes, interviewing guests and all that. Speaking of which, I do have two exciting guests come over to speak with me. The first being Melanie Charles, who is a Haitian-born, Brooklyn residing a singer-songwriter, a multi-talented singer, and also Ewonee the beatnik, or Ewonee. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but he's an incredibly talented producer who is coming out of New York as well, who's been in the game for a couple of years now. So that will happen later on. Firstly, and I'm really hoping this internet connection is really good enough. I'm gonna have to check. I think for the most part it's fine, but we'll just have to I just have to see really. Just give me 2 seconds because the whole sharing thing and this is quite a new thing for me. So I'm really trying to make it right, and to make it, something that is engaging for people and interesting for people. So share that. Let the world know that we're doing this. If it loads up well enough, I hope it does. And then we're good to go. But yeah, basically, music that I've been listening to for the past week. I've got three main albums to talk about. The first one being Iman Omari's project IHY. I'm not sure if that's an acronym for something, but Iman Omari is a talented producer coming out of LA who's been in the game for a while now, and he actually broke through with his Energy EP, which came out in 2011, which saw people like Isaiah Rashad and Kendrick kind of use his music as well, and sample his music. Kendrick used it for his Grammy performance in 2016, and then Isaiah Rashad sampled it for a demo EP tape. So I mean that's about Iman Omari. So this new album is just incredibly lush with it's a new soul album with jazzy elements and elements of funk and hip hop as well, all mixed together very beautifully and very just very beautifully by Iman Omari, with features from people like from Mind Design, Kwele Chris, who's also got one of the albums of the year, and a bunch of other people that I think you should check out. But that album is really worth listening to. The second project I have is actually an artist from Switzerland, so that's my home country. It's somebody that I've been listening to for a while now, and has come out with a brand new project, called 2017, all in Roman numerals, and he's quite an atmospheric producer in the sense that the beats that he produces and the tone that he sets with the album is very atmospheric. It's very ambient. It's very laid back, but also, having hints of like hip hop production and boom bap stuff. So the way I described it in my review on In Search of Media is, imagine it's summer and you're laying down. I mean, for me, it's on Lake Geneva, just listening to him, to his music and seeing the sunset. Which is really, for me, it puts me in a moment of zen. So that's that. And then the third and final album I wanted to talk to in more detail is a very exciting new group called 3070, who come out of Melbourne, Australia. And I've got to tell you, Australia at the moment have one of the best, some of the best musicians and bands to come out of there. Um, I mean, yeah, 3070, Hydra's Coyote, Tame Impala, King Gizzard, and the Lizard Wizard as well. Just there's so much soul, and you really have a sense um, of their culture and their spirit, of sort of the Aborigine type spirit in their neo soul as well. And a big shout out as well to Nai Palm, who released a Needleport album this not this week but this month, and I think she might have worked with 3070 on this album as well. So it's definitely something to check out, because you know the vibes on there are just incredibly beautiful. And it's an album again that I recommend 100%. So, oh, and also bearing in mind it was released on Rhythm Section International, who are a South London label. So big up a Rhythm Section. Been a fan of yours for a while now, and I hope you keep on going with the releases. So, as far as new music's concerned, especially for this week, I think, you know, I think that's fine. And I wanted to get into sort of the question of the week, which is in the title, is can you separate the artist from their art? And it's something that I've been thinking about for a little while now. I mean, partly because of the unfortunate allegations that came out against the Gaslamp killer I mean, it was this month. A girl on Twitter accused him of, back in 2013, drugging them and then raping her and a friend of hers. And it was really a shock for everyone, as you could imagine. And Gaslamp has been someone who I have admired and have loved for, you know, a very, very long time. So to see that and to kind of have that feeling of disgust made me think about whether I can now listen to his music the same way I did before, knowing what he's been accused of. And just on that, I think it's important to understand and to really highlight the importance of listening to, listening to the victims, because I mean, reading through the comments, reading through what people have to say, people were defending the, Gaslam killer without really knowing him personally, and kind of saying, "Oh, we need evidence. We need evidence for this," which, they're right. But for me, it's important in these situations to think, and to have this mind that you are guilty until you're proven innocent, and not the other way around, because victims need to be heard. So, and also the fact that, who would make up something like this, and the consequences of fake allegations surely are very serious. So I 100% support the girl who accused Gaslamp of rape and all the rest of it. And until there is evidence proving that he's innocent, I will not support any more his music. In fact, I think I still have his album on my iTunes. I need to delete that, but I'm not supporting him. Fuck that guy for what he did, because it's one of the worst things that you can do to someone else. So yeah. So just clear that one up. But back to the actual question. What I have this written down. What someone on Twitter, Alim Ali, who is a really talented creative, who is associated with the people I listen to and with the LA music scene as well, tweeted, "You cannot separate the artist from their art because intention and identity is everything," which I 100% agree with. The same person who made this piece of art that we sort of grow and love and respect, that same mind and that same person also did the other things, whether that be rape, domestic violence, or other just hideous actions on other people, so to put it. So I fully agree with that statement, and a piece of art is I mean, it's bound to be interlinked with the artist's identity. I mean, how wouldn't it really? Um, so those are my thoughts on that. But then, and I also think that you need to be consistent with the way that you, um, I mean, you need to be consistent with that in the sense that that needs to be your mindset. And you know, for every musician, every artist who is I guess a creative. I mean, even every person. I mean, we could go into politics and talk about Donald Trump and you know, women accusing him of sexual harassment and all that. Like you can be the greatest actor, musician, politician in the world, but if you're accused of raping someone, then regardless of the ideas that you have, you know, you're still a shitty person, and that isn't to be supported. You understand what I'm saying? But it did get me thinking about I watched Manchester by the Sea, and I was blown away by Casey Affleck's performance, and it kind of got me thinking of whether he deserved the Oscar for best actor, because I mean the performance again I think was pretty amazing, but then because of the history that he's had with, you know, with sexual harassment and domestic violence and all that, I don't know if I can watch that film and see him in sort of the same light. But I guess with acting, you know, the actor, like when you watch a film, you don't see the actor, you see the person that is you know is being acted. I don't think that was good English, but I think you know what I mean. So yeah, so there's that, and also there were discussions after the new Blade Runner 2049 film came out, whether that film was racist or whether whether that film was sexist and misogynistic. Whereas I think that the new Blade Runner, I love the film, but it was an accurate depiction of where things might go in the future, and I do think that, you know, unfortunate things like rape or domestic violence and that kind of stuff isn't really going to go away. But what I find fascinating and what I find interesting and good is the fact that the internet is giving a platform for people who otherwise wouldn't speak out against these crimes, basically, and give a voice to the voiceless, which is of course something that, you know, all of us need, and is given, you know, real power to those people. So I guess that was what I wanted to talk about in that regard. I really hope the internet is still in check and is still fine. I think there may be some lag, but I hope this is all right. So I wanted to talk now about the guests I have coming on. So the first guest I'm going to bring on, we'll see if she's available, is a beautiful and talented musician called Melanie Charles. As I mentioned in my brief intro, she is Haitian, and she's been in music for a while, and I find her history quite interesting. Her going, let me have a look. So, I mean, she's featured on albums alongside Gregory Porter, Jose James, Jesse Fisher, Laura Isbor, so real sort of neo-soul artists. And it's really exciting to have her on. I'll try and call her now and see if she's available. I hope she is, so we can talk a little bit about her past, her creative process, and her new album as well. So let's have a look if this works.
Hello.
Hello, Melanie. So you're on now. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Again, internet problems that haven't been too great, but I'm really excited to have you on, and I hope this method works, and I'm sure people hear you. So yeah, I mean, I remember discovering you I mean, not too long ago, really. I think it was through your new album, The Girl with the Green Shoes, which is, you know, a beautiful piece of work. And also, I remember you performed in London, I think prior to the release of the album, which unfortunately I didn't come to see you. I think I had other engagements. But I mean, when that album came out, I thought, oh, you know, a new artist, you know, I was super excited. I thought you were completely new and this was your debut album, but you've been in the game for quite a while now, you know, making music.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm sorry to disappoint you that I wasn't brand new.
Oh, sorry, what?
I said I'm sorry to disappoint you when you discovered that I wasn't a brand new artist.
No. I mean, no. I find it interesting because, like, when I look at music and I look at certain artists, sometimes, I don't know, for some reason, I mean, that's just what I thought. But I mean, just reading through, I guess your little biography on your site that I was very intrigued by. I see that you've gone to, you know, performing arts school and all the rest of it. And I wanted to ask as a first question, I know I've been going on for a while, is what was the first moment that you realized that music was actually, you know, something that you wanted to do in your life?
Well, you know, I wish I had a moment like that where I can make that declaration, because I think that's really beautiful when musicians can say, oh, I heard this album and I knew I had to do it. But for me, music was always something that I had to do. It was always a calling for me. I never really had a choice, you know what I mean? My mom loves music, she loves art, and she said that when she was pregnant with me, she said, you know, one of my dreams is for my daughter to be a musician, and it happened, you know. She said when I was a little girl, I was always humming and stuff. So she got me piano lessons when I was like 5 years old, and it was just always my thing, you know.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Are your family are they musicians, or is it kind of just you?
My little brother plays saxophone. His name is Roger Charles. He's amazing. He's incredible. My dad passed away, but apparently they said he used to play a little organ, a little bit of guitar.
Okay.
And my mom, always just loved music. She was in the musicals. She was a little girl and stuff. And actually, right now, she's working on her album. So we all love music in this family.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds very interesting. I mean, I wanted to ask, for this new album, The Girl with the Green Shoes, right? So tell me a little bit about the creative process behind that album. What made you decide to go in that direction?
Well, first of all, it's not an album; it's a mixtape.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I feel like there's a certain qualification to call it that an album, and it's not quite that, and I don't want to, you know. But
yeah. My
motivation for that is because, to be honest with you, it was my leap towards independence. Studying jazz and all that stuff, playing jazz, you know, it's heavily based in your interaction with a band and other musicians. And I was traveling and doing a lot of stuff, and I felt like working with other musicians was sort of limiting my creativity. And I was getting there was a lot of rules that were getting imposed on me, that I was interested in sort of exploring other ways of doing things. And so I was listening to a lot of beat stuff, like Oplet and Dill Winners and Mind Design and Toro. I listened to all these guys, and I was hanging out with the Dirty Tapes crew, which I don't know if you know about that, in Brooklyn.
Of course.
And you know, I met Dill Winners, and he's younger than me, but I'm his hugest fan. And he was like, I'm getting rid of this 202. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm buying it from you. So I bought Dill's 202. And then I just started sampling music that I love, which spans over so many genres, you know. And I was like, all right, I want to write music to these samples. I want to sing jazz standards over these samples, because I love jazz, you know, but I love beats, you know. I want to make music that I want to listen to. That was my goal. Make music that I like. And It worked out.
Good.
It worked out.
So this was really the first time that you've had experience with sampling and with beat making on this album. Sorry, mixtape.
Say it again. It's the first time that what?
Yeah, is it? So you're saying this is the first time that you've experimented with sampling and with beat making on this new mixtape?
Yes, exactly.
Oh wow.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what was the? I mean, I know the response must have been, great. I mean, how did you feel after releasing the album initially?
Well, first of all, I wanted the album to be. I had a different vision for what the mixtape would sound like.
Yeah.
It's so dirty, and I recorded it in California with a gentleman named Jamie Wallen. He also goes by Mejian. And he founded Record Society, and I just recorded it one straight take, straight to cassette, one day, and the plan was to redo some tracks and blah blah. But each time I listened to it, I realized that the chemistry and the energy was so honest and natural that I just decided to keep it. But it's definitely, that's not how I envisioned it would sound towards the end, and I was really nervous about how people would receive it, being so dirty and so rugged. But it's sort of like, if you get it, you get it,
Yeah.
And people have been getting it, and I'm just like so happy. Like, I feel like I don't have to pretend anymore, because like I said before, a lot of rules in the jazz world and stuff. And now I'm just like, man, this is who I am. I'm into this weird shit. Either you're with me or you're not.
Yeah,
so
I know.
It's been really liberating.
Yeah, of course. And on that, I mean, I think, at least from my experience, just reading through the comments and what people have been saying, the amount of people that have supported the mixtape, not the album, seem to love it. And it's funny that you say that you were worried about it, the fact that it was very lo-fi in kind of its sound, and it sounded rugged. I remember you posting, was it a snapshot of a comment that you got, or a message you got from someone who said, "Oh,
You saw that, right? You did.
Yeah, and I commented on it as well. I was like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, because I don't know. I mean, for me, sound quality, to an extent, it does matter, but I do find charm in sort of real lo-fi projects, and it's a shame that some people don't really see that. I mean, was that person a close friend of yours, or was he someone that you? And how did you respond to that, either internally or?
Well, he was a gentleman that wanted to work with me on this project, right?
Oh,
He
okay.
wanted to produce it. But the ball had already been rolling. I was already producing it, and there wasn't really any room for anyone to come in and produce this project with me. And so I think he was a little disappointed about it. And so I think that was his reaction. But in any case, I was just like, dude, you just don't get it. And I told him that it was a little rude for him to feel that it was okay to say that to me. Creativity is a very personal and sensitive and delicate thing. How can we have any opinions on how someone went about anything? So I just let them know that it was messed up, and I closed that chapter with that person. So I don't know, but it was also really good to hear another opinion. I think as humans, we need to know the other side. You know what I mean? How people view things. Not everyone's gonna love it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're obviously surrounded by people who say, "Oh, yeah, this is the best," and sometimes you lose track of, as you say, of the other side as well. But yeah, I mean, in any case, I love the album. I mean, do you the mixtape? I'm just gonna. I mean, on that, to be honest, everything, like every body of work. I mean, I know that there's some distinctions, but for some reason, I see this as an album. Do you have any plans to work?
A lot of people want us to call it an album too.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just accept it. I don't know. But
maybe. Maybe. Do you have any plans on working on sort of I guess more of an album as you would want in the future, or I mean, what are your next plans?
I don't know. I'm a a Pisces, Martin, and every day I have a different idea of what I want to do. I mean, part of me wants to do sort of the Girl with the Green Shoes part 2 and have it be infused with like live instruments.
Yeah.
Another part of me is just ready to just move on to new music and sort of using more like Haitian sounds and stuff with live instrumentation as well, and doing sort of like a full length album. But I'm also interested in doing like a series of different singles that are connected to like short films and sort of like start like a musical conversation that like spans like my career. You know what I mean? Like little like stories and moments, you know, and like moments of expression. So I don't know. I imagine that I'll be putting out some new music within the next 2 months. What it's gonna be, I don't know.
Any plan to tour? Maybe come back to London again so I can see you.
Oh man.
or some.
So
I know. Yeah.
I'm definitely. I know I'm going back again next year at some point around the same time that I went this year. So we should definitely stay in contact, Martin. Well, you're my friend now, Martin. I'm excited.
Good.
You're my friend.
Perfect. I wanted to ask something else. My mind went blank. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So about touring, I always find it curious with musicians to know if when you go from place to place and when you tour from country to country, whether you feel a change or I guess different vibes, you know, from different places, or if it's kind of a universal thing that if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
Interesting. I mean, I'm very blessed that when I tour, I'm able to do. I'm performing in different like settings, right? So this last tour that I just did, it was a lot of the shows I did was in Poland, and I was touring with a jazz band, and we're performing in like all the top jazz clubs, right? So, you know, I'm performing music that people know, but they also have certain ideas of how things are supposed to sound, right? Like that's like part of the whole like jazz school, right?
Of course.
And I had about a week of tours of shows where it was like my solo stuff, the D Flower stuff, and that was in Berlin and London, as you saw. And that is different. It's the venues are a lot more. How could I say, a little bit more approachable, I guess, or low key, you know, and the people didn't know my music, you know, and you know the sound may be a little challenging at this venue, you know. And the reception, though, which has been really exciting, is that even though people don't know who I was or what my music was, it was something different to them, and that it's something that like captures them. It's always scary because when you're doing new music for people, it's either they can't grab onto it and they get distracted, or they're curious and they're saying, "Whoa, what is this?" And I've been lucky that the reaction has been curiosity and interest in what's happening. So. Yeah, I mean, traveling outside of the U.S., people always receive music so well and warm. In New York, people are kind of jaded, you know. We've all heard it before. Everyone's great, you know. Everyone's amazing. All the best people are here. So it's it makes it difficult to really listen honestly and from the heart, you know. And I've been blessed to realize that whenever I go out of this country, like people are really open and like down for something different.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, I'm excited for what you have next in terms of music and all that. I do hope you come to London again so I can, you know, so we can maybe catch up and see you perform really.
I would love that.
Yeah. I have one question, because obviously the theme of this show, and I talked about it briefly, and I want your take on it, if that's okay, is, can you separate the artist from their art? Do you have any thoughts on that? Maybe you don't. I don't know.
I don't know. What do you mean by can you? Meaning, as the listener, can you listen
Yeah,
to them one way, even though you know who they really are? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I gave the example of I don't know if you've read about this, but the Gaslam killer being accused of rape, and sort of people who have done unforgivable things, and whether you can separate their actions, as in who they are or what they've done, from their music. Can you?
That's a very delicate question. Yeah. That's very complicated, you know. I can tell you that I was a huge fan of a certain trumpet player when I was in college, and I loved his music. I wanted to perform with him, and I felt like I understood his music very well. And I saw other singers were singing with him, and I felt like they didn't really get what it was about. And I was like, I need to sing them. So I contacted him many times, trying to like sing for him and like show him that, you know, I'm qualified for it. And finally he snapped at me. He got really annoyed, and he was like, stop annoying me and contacting me, you know, who does that? Blah, blah. He was really, really nasty. And to be honest with you, after he spoke to me in that way, I never was able to enjoy his music the same way. Mm-hmm. I knew the truth about him, that he wasn't really a kind person, and so it tainted my listening experience. I think it's a very human thing, right? When you know the truth about someone, you never can look at them the same, even if it's not music, right? And we all have our dark side, right? We all have shit that's like really fucked up that we might do, different levels of it, you know. Unfortunately, we found out the truth about Gaslam, and so maybe some people's view about him have shifted. You know, I think that's really, really normal. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. But I think people's personal life definitely do influence their music. Yeah. I think it is a reflection of them. So no, I don't think you can separate it. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I'm kind of with you on that one. It's very difficult. I know Alim Aliyah, I don't know if you know her, but she tweeted, you cannot separate the artist from their art because intention and identity is everything. So
yes.
All
right. I agree.
Good. So we've come to an agreement then on this. Yeah. Come to a consensus. All right. Well, anything else you want to add about new performances or new plans? Before we go, or?
Well, I mean, if anyone's listening from New York, I'll be performing songs for The Girl with the Green Shoes on Tuesday at Mercury Lounge for the first time since I released it. So I'm really excited about that. And I guess just people, I'm interested in like connecting with other producers and like creatives as well. I know I come across as like very independent, but I'm also interested in like creating a community of sound. So if anyone's listening and is down to create, hit me up.
Perfect. Well, yeah, it was lovely talking to you.
Lovely talking to you.
Yeah,
too.
and
I love what you're doing for music and for the community, and I think you're really important to us. And any way I can help and encourage and support what you're doing, please let me know.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It means a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a pleasant Sunday, and yeah, well,
thank you.
We'll talk soon, I guess.
Sounds good. Have a good one, Martin. Bye.
Oh, isn't she nice? That was Melanie Charles. Again, the Girl with the Green Shoes. I do encourage you, all of you listening, the one person who may be listening right now, to go on Google and type Melanie Charles, The Girl with the Green Shoes, and just listen. In fact, stop this stream right now. Actually, don't, but you know, later on. Right. So the next guest I have on, I'll see if he's available because that maybe took a little longer. I mean, it should be fine. So the next guest I have on goes by the name of Ewonee. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Who is a very talented producer from New York. So I'm just going to check if he's available to take my call, and so we can talk about kind of music and life and what he has going on. So we shall try it now. Hey,
Hello?
Marquise. Hello. It's Martin. You're on the show. How are you doing?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. I'm very good. So yeah. Welcome. I've been kind of hyping you up to be this producer extraordinaire from New York. But in truth, I've been a fan of yours for a very long time now. Since when? I mean, it's been a couple of years through albums such as the one you did with Jalal Salam called Past Lives, which I have and I love, and obviously your new album Molecular Structure. So I just wanted to ask you about how you, I guess, how you got started with music and as a beat maker in general.
Well, early on, first, thank you for
No worries, man.
It helps me be better, but it all really just started with being with friends, being around friends. First, it's like a fun thing, more of like a hobby, and then I went to school for audio engineering in 2012, and I basically fell in love with like the science of it, and like everything that has to do with like frequencies and sound and just vibration, and that kind of furthered my interest in like making music as well. So that was 2011, 2012, and
yeah. Now we're here. I mean, a couple of years later, you're a fairly well-respected artist, and again, I feel like even walking around, people in London, I mean, it depends on what who you speak to, but everybody seems to be saying, yeah, that guy's a dope producer, basically. And I know I've shared music as well. So your new album, Molecular Structure, would you call this? I think on the Bandcamp, if I'm not mistaken, you call this your second full length. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. So how was your creative process like with this one compared to your previous projects that you've worked on?
Well, this was kind of the follow-up to my other electronic album that came out in 2015, Radiance.
Radiance,
that was released through Beat House. And it really kind of just followed suit with that, but a little more. I kind of went a little more on the. How do I put this without being weird? I kind of wanted to gather some more skills before I really threw out another album.
Yeah.
Into the that's why it took so long that I worked on it for about 2 years. So
yeah.
I mean, I kind of approached it as being like kind of like a growth thing, because I wanted to really wait and hone things that I hadn't done on the last album, like drums, playing live drums and bettering my mixing and mastering techniques and things like that. So a lot of that stuff really helped to bring that to the next level. And I mean, I kind of had an idea that I wanted for it, so I was really just waiting until all the pieces fell into place. That's really important when trying to put together an album is being patient so that you can like see the vision through that you really have in mind.
Yeah, and how's the process like, and also, do you prefer working solo or collaborating with another artist? Do you think that working with another artist limits your own creativity and your own process, or do you think it enhances it? I'm thinking about the Past Lives collaborative album that you released last year.
I'm really big on when I'm like collaborating with a person, on having a relationship with them outside of music.
Yeah.
So like,
of course.
Like internet collaborations, I can do them, but it's far and few in between. Like I'd rather. And if it is an internet collaboration, I'd rather talk to the person. But in the case of like Past Lives, Jalal doesn't live too far from me. So we were meeting up a lot, and I would bring him beats, and we would go eat and talk about like reincarnation. And he's a wizard, man. That guy's a wizard. So he would he always schools me on things, and we have good conversation. And that album really came out of that. Just really like meeting up. It was honestly the first album that I did like in person with someone.
Yeah.
But other albums that I've done with other rappers in the past, like Mirrors with Fly Anakin, like I had a relationship with him before music. Like we were friends. We were good friends before. You know, a lot of things kind of came to fruition.
Of course. Yes.
I'm big on trying to like also like how do I put this? Foster artists, like try to like, I don't know, bring the best out of them if I can, you know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
That was another thing that I tried to do with this one. Like I have the one of the singles, the second single, Inertia. It features my friend Ian Garrity.
Yeah.
And that's his first time ever kind of really doing something like that. So he's skilled, he's versatile, he's skilled and he's versatile. So it's not like he couldn't do it. I was just glad to be able to help him with that, showcase his talents.
Sounds good, man. I was gonna ask, like, do you ever have moments with people where, like, do you have moments, for example, when you're friendly with that person, you know, in person, you're friends with him, and you know you get along, but you know, for whatever reason, things don't work out when you try and collaborate.
Yeah, all the time. To be honest,
wow.
It's more of like a time and a place kind of thing with me too, because like I have a lot of friends that are really creative people and make great stuff, and sometimes like you try to mesh styles and the time and the place might not be right, you know?
Yeah,
and like
of course.
you might try it again. Like I have a lot of collaborations that I do with friends that might not even come out and stuff, but like some of them might surface, but the more that you do it, you know, you put more of like an X factor in there, you know, because you don't know, you might be at his studio, you might be at your studio, you might have done it at night, you might have done it during the daytime. So it's like you kind of find which mood and which vibe kind of helps you guys like create what you want to make.
Yeah, of course. It's always fascinating with that kind of I mean, how chemistry works really, whether you know it's through music or through friendships.
Yeah, I'm big on that.
I mean, do you travel often? In the sense that, do you travel fairly long distances just to collaborate with people, or has that been on your mind? Any particular people that you want to collaborate with that are, for example, in LA? Or yeah.
For the most part, I don't really travel much to people to collaborate. Like my first real time doing that was Past Lives.
Yeah.
And he doesn't live too far. It's maybe about 45 minutes away from me.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
I'm not opposed to like going out to wherever an artist is. To be honest, like I'd rather that now. Maybe before I was kind of like timid, because it's weird. Sometimes you're like a little studio shy sometimes, you know, because you don't know what might come of it. But like now I feel like I would love to just like certain artists that you know live in like New York or like it's a close proximity to you that you could like definitely travel and get in the studio together. I would rather that than like bouncing ideas back and forth over the internet now, you know. And like I'm working on another rap album right now with a rapper from the town that I live in currently, Poughkeepsie, and we're like really cultivating it like in my studio, which is like the first time I've kind of done that, because I was always going to Jalal for Past Lives, so he's kind of the person that I'm working with now. He comes to my studio, and we kind of just been recording and bouncing beats back and forth, trying to get an idea together for the concept of the album and stuff. It's been coming together though. It's nice.
Nice. Yeah, sounds good again. All right, well, so Molecular Structure. Anything you want to say about sort of, are you touring soon, or think? I know you said that you were collaborating with someone else, but any new music planning to come soon, or maybe touring?
For now, I've got a show coming up this Friday at Lafayette College in Pennsylvania, in Eastern Pennsylvania, out here on the East Coast, and I'm up at another show in Brooklyn on the 18th, I believe.
I need to get you guys to London, man. It's tough.
I would love it.
It's tough, but I mean, it's another part of what I want to do. Hopefully for the future is to kind of
cultivate events and stuff.
exactly and kind of
Yeah.
make a bridge between America and the UK and make it happen.
You want to know what will really help, man? It's like
Go on.
it's cultivating it first out there, yo, because you guys have some dudes out there, man, like Scott Zylo.
Oh yeah.
Stuff. Like, UK's got some folks out there, so
I know, man. And also, I mean, yeah, I mean the scene is incredible as well.
Nice.
There's so much going on in terms of hip hop, beat music, and all the rest of it. So I'll look into it and I'll keep you updated. But it would be cool to have kind of you and other artists over as well for shows, for sure.
Definitely.
So yeah, one last question. So my theme for this podcast was, can you separate the artist from their art? And I wanted to ask your opinion on that.
For me,
yep.
It's really, really hard to do that. Like it's really hard to separate what someone does, like creation-wise, as opposed to who they are as a person. Because I feel like it goes hand in hand almost. Because if not, then you're kind of being dishonest, I feel like, in a way. Like if your art kind of doesn't reflect how you live your life and like the things that you go through day to day, then it's pretty dishonest. So like to separate the entity, like the intangible entity of art from someone is like really, really difficult. It's hard. Like it's because of course we all have like problematic favorites. Like you go through time and you learn and you're like, wow, that person wasn't as great as I thought they were as a person. And it's a hard pill to swallow because you're like, wow, they mean a lot to me, like art wise, and it's tough, but
yeah, I mean,
I definitely can't.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, for me, I think, as we're all human, some things that I mean, we do have a darker side, and Melanie pointed that out, and the fact that I mean, for me, there are some things that are forgivable, but then, and in that case, I think I'm not going to say it's easier to separate the two, but you kind of have an understanding and a bit of empathy and sympathy towards them. Whereas in situations like I'm sure you read about the Gaslam killer situation, where this is accusations of rape that are being put forward. It's incredibly, exactly. It's incredibly difficult for me to then sit down, put on a Gaslam Killer album and say, oh yeah, I'm loving this. When, I mean, when, exactly. So it's for me, you can't really, but it's an interesting conversation, definitely.
For sure, it's. I'm telling you, man, it's a hard one too, because even if you go back and talk about things that past artists have done, like I hate to bring up skeletons, but like not everyone was the greatest person towards women, and just super like distasteful things that you learn about as you go on, and you're like self harm is one thing, like most musicians do cause themselves a lot of self harm, and it's like it's an all encompassing thing. Like it's an all encompassing thing that like a lot of things will bring that onto you,
Yeah.
But harm to other people is like you can totally prevent that. You know what I mean? Like so it's hard to just be like, wow, like I love this song, but you're a scumbag. It's a hard one.
No, absolutely, man, absolutely. All right. Well, anything else you want to add about new projects or your new album or tours and stuff?
I got this little breakbeat project that I'm working on currently. I'm trying to play and record a bunch of breakbeats to give to some producer homies and maybe put out on the market for people to pick up. It's been a cool little journey trying to teach myself how to play drums.
Yeah.
So it's I finally feel like I'm at a place where I'm comfortable enough to do something like that. So that should be cool. Nice. And I'm working on an album with a guy from out here. Goes by the name of Rills. So I don't know if that's gonna be his name. He doesn't really have any rap music out. He also makes beats. He's a dope producer, so it's been a dope little vibe we've been bouncing off. But
what's his name again? Sorry.
Rills.
Rills.
RILLZ.
Rings a bell, but I don't think I've. Okay, I'll look into his stuff.
Yeah, man. He doesn't have much rap stuff out, like solo rap stuff, but he has some beats out.
Nice,
cool
nice.
So we're working on that, and I'm trying to put together a nice little beat tape type album, full of loops and sample based stuff. Maybe featuring some rappers that I've worked with in the past. If I could pull some strings, that'd be nice. But
yes, sounds good, man.
But I have the idea of it for the most part, like what I want to do with it. I don't know if anyone's seen the movie Watt Stacks. It's like a Woodstock type movie, but featuring like soul artists from the Stax label, like the Staple Singers, and like Rufus Thomas and stuff like that. That's a great movie, and like I don't know, it's just like a perfect picture of 70s blackness. So I think it's like perfect. It's a perfect little theme that I'm gonna run with it. Hopefully I'm not giving it too much, but I already said it, so now if anyone copies it, I said it here first.
All right, man. All right, cool. Anything else?
Just thank you, man. Thank you for supporting,
for
spreading the word.
No worries, man.
For this, for the blog that you run, for just being,
No worries, man.
A supportive internet person, man. It'd be nice to finally meet you in person one day.
It would be. I'd love that. Yeah. I mean, I do it all for love, really, for the music. So, I appreciate your input into kind of the music beat tape community or hip hop community, whatever you want to call it. So I appreciate it as well. So yeah.
Means a lot, man.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks for agreeing to do this.
Yeah, man. Of course.
And yeah, have
I hope to see more. Because I just saw that this is actually the first time.
Yeah, this is the very first one I've got. I think I should have advertised it better. I've got one person listening, but this will be out on Facebook. Then I'll upload it to YouTube, and then as a podcast as well on iTunes, so people have access to it. And I'll be sure to share it around as much as possible.
I'll definitely do the same, man. Come on.
All right, cool. Well, it's nice having you on. Have a chill Sunday, and yeah, hope to speak to you soon.
Thank you, brother. You do the same.
All right, cheers, man. See ya.
Blessings. Peace.
All right. Well, that was Ewonee, real name Marquise Turk. Yeah, a very interesting and insightful conversation from both Ewonee and Melanie Charles. So, as I mentioned, this will go out to YouTube and sort of all the other platforms as well, so you guys can have a look and listen to it. And it is the very first show as well, so hopefully we'll do it sort of week by week. So next week I'm planning to have new guests on so we can speak. And also, I mean, by all means, those people listening, if you have any suggestions at all as to what I can do to make this show, better, more engaging. I was actually thinking while I was talking to both Melanie and Marquise that maybe the interview segment should be longer. But anything at all to to help me progress kind of the movement I'm trying to create with the musicians as well, will be much appreciated. So yeah, I mean that was really the show. It's gone longer than I thought. I thought this would be a half an hour show, but we've almost hit the hour mark. So I guess we'll say goodbye for now. Next week will be fun. Next week will be better. There will be no internet connection problems. And hopefully things will run smoother and we can get more good shit. But yeah, man. As it is, I do it for the love of the music. I want to reach more people as well, which I'm sure will happen with a little bit more consistency. But this is really daunting. Like I'm live. I've got the whole setup with the webcam and microphone, and hopefully, things will just get better from here. So I'll call it a wrap, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you have any suggestions, or you just want to talk to me, holler at me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All the links will be in the description. I mean, you know where to find me, and make sure you share it around and all the rest. But yeah, I'll be back next week, same time, with new guests, so we can talk more about music and other fun stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy and have a good Sunday. Peace out.